And here it is. We're back. We are with the Steve and Jesus show. I'm Jesus. My man Steve is right there.
Of course, ready
Today,
to go. Ready to
we're
go.
ready to debate. I've been debating this week. I'm ready for some more debate.
I
We're going to get
know.
into fantasy football. We're ready for it.
Yeah, we got to shout out, Bob Sullivan and the Bob Sullivan Show. Apparently, he had you on. You did some fierce debating. I loved it. What'd you think of it, my man? Give
I
us
mean,
some
I mean,
insight.
you know, it was great. It was great. I mean, I enjoyed it. I did exactly what we're all about. We're about debating, and that's exactly what I did on that show. Had a caller here or there come in, call in, try to debate with me. It felt
Well,
good. Debating it.
I,
It's
I,
it's awesome.
they tested you. They tested you. I saw that. I'm
They
glad. I'm
tried.
happy for the fans of Bob Sullivan Show. They need to go much harder next time. That's all I'm
They
saying.
they tried, but they did the same thing you first did when you tried to debate. They did
All
the
right.
and
But
that's when you know you want to
they're
debate.
rookies, all right? I never do the right?
Not
I
anymore.
trump you out, okay?
Let's get it. Let's get right to the show, man.
All right.
So we're going to talk about fantasy football. We're going to start off with quarterbacks. What are the top five quarterbacks you should play this week for DraftKings, for ESPN, for Yahoo, NFL.com, and maybe some point soon, SportingDebate.com as well. Steve, what do you got? Give me your top five.
I mean, top five, if you're basing it based off matchups, I think Aaron Rodgers against Chicago is juicy. I mean,
Of course.
granted, yes, you do have, Jordy Nelson who's out for the year, but I'm sorry. I believe in Randall Cobb. I also believe, and you can attest to this. I've believed in Devontae Adams, even though you disagree. I've been screaming his name for a while, but I think at the end of the day, you still have Lacey who takes, drop off, dump passes. That, of course, it's just the obvious. Next after that, I mean, I know people are going to say the obvious answer is Luck, but I really don't think Luck is a viable two for this week. And the reason why is they are playing a Bills defense now. We got to be a little bit conservative. It is the Bills defense. It's under Rex Ryan. We don't know how they're going to look. It's a defense transitioning from one system to another. So, yes, Luck has the potential to put up some big numbers. But if I had to put Luck in a ranking right now, I'd probably say like 4 just because there are a lot of unknowns, but I still think I mean, you have to play Luck. He's a top 5 guy. Um, After that, yeah, you do
Give me
have.
one more. Give me one more.
I'll give
We're
you.
gonna
I'll
do
give you.
top three.
I'll give you. I do like Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning has historically started off out of the gate pretty good.
Mhm.
Drew Brees can also be one that you can argue. I don't agree with Tom Brady being in that statement just because it is even though the Steelers defense is a little softer. I'm just a little skeptical on putting them in the top 3. So
All
that's
right.
how I have. That's why I know you were waiting for it. I know you were waiting for
Let's
it.
go.
But
Let's go. Look,
but that's my top 3.
fantasy is my second thing. You know that.
Yes,
NBA is my first. Fantasy is my
fantasy.
second thing.
I will give you
I
that.
know my fantasy. Number one is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Has to be
hands
going
down.
against. I don't care. I understand he's missing people, but Aaron Rodgers will find a way. The weather's still good. I think once the weather gets a little bit colder, you may see a little bit more of a struggle because he doesn't have Jordy. But right now, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers, number one this week. Number two is a guy that Steve said he's not too big on, but I think he is going to be
Stop it.
in some kind of mode that's going to be, I can't say it on this show, put
Yeah,
it like that. He's angry.
he's
He's going
angry
to go ahead. He's going to rub it in. I think
on
potentially,
opening day.
even if,
Really.
yes, on opening day, even if it's, say, for example, a 30-10 game with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he's going to continue to pass the ball. They're going to continue to go ahead and run up the score because Bill Belichick is going to take it back to the year when they had Randy Moss and Wes Welker, where they want to piss everybody in the league off because everybody was against them. Everybody tried to get Brady suspended for the first
Okay,
four
I
games.
see where you're
I'm
going.
telling you right now, they're angry.
I
They
see where
are
you're going.
angry and
Okay,
they are not playing games.
okay.
Number three is just, to me, this is one of the best matchups against a horrific secondary, Ryan Tannehill against Washington secondary. Ryan Tannehill has the targets. Brandon Albert comes back, and anybody who's been watching preseason, Ryan Tannehill has probably been a top 3 quarterback all preseason. Now, granted, it's preseason,
Yes,
but he hasn't
it's
had his offensive linemen. He hasn't had his offensive lineman, and now Brandon Albert comes back. His best, probably one of his best offensive linemen there against Washington, a horrid defense. I will say it. They are a bad, bad defense. That to me is your top three. I think Luck is at 4. I completely agree with you. I think Luck then falls in, and then you could go with a Breeze against Atlanta is going to be possibly a 5. But if you have number 3, yes, people, I'm saying it right now. Brady and Tannehill are 2 guys. Yes, I could say, well, those are my sleepers for this week. I could say that.
Yeah,
But
you
I'm going
could,
more
because
than
that's
They are going to,
deep.
yeah, but I'm going more than that because they are going to win you fantasy games this week. They are going to win you fantasy games.
Hey,
I'm
he
not saying
stated
if you
it,
have,
guys. He
yeah,
stated it, not me.
I'm not saying this.
Send
If
the
you have
emails
Andrew
to
Luck,
him.
if you have Andrew Luck, you obviously do not bench Andrew Luck for Tom Brady
No.
or Ryan Tannehill. You don't take the risk because it's not that much of a difference. But if you have, say, for example, a mid-tier
Smooth.
quarterback, a Matt Ryan and a Tannehill, go with a Tannehill. A Matt Ryan and a Tom Brady, go with a Tom Brady. We're going to answer more questions about lineups for you guys coming up later in the show. Now we're going to get into the next position. Steve, give me your top 3 running backs.
Running backs, I think out of the gate, you have to do Eddie Lacy. I mean, Eddie Lacy is a beast. He's gonna get them the carries. I just think you have to have him at number 1. Number 2, I like me some Marshawn Lynch. I really do. I like me some beast mode. I know you're stinking at it right now, but I'm sorry. I like me some beast mode coming in the opening weeks of the season. And number 3, I have to say I do love me some Peterson. I got to put Peterson in there. That's my top 3. Oh,
Interesting.
you
All right.
like that one?
That's interesting. All right. Look, I'm gonna agree with you on certain things. I mean, I do like Lacy. I think Lacy against Chicago is gonna be very good. But my number 1 running back this week, people are gonna say, "What are you talking about?" Mark Ingram against Atlanta. Yeah, I know. Look at that face. Oh, look at that face. Look at that face.
That
Mark
stinks.
Ingram. Mark Ingram against Atlanta potentially could give you 3 touchdowns
What's that
against that
smell?
defense.
Oh, that
Steve,
smell is
You'll agree with me.
that
You
smell
always
is
agree with me on this. Look,
juice is coming out.
fantasy is
crazy.
about matchups, is it not?
It is
It's
about matchups.
It's about matchups
But it's
and
also
opportunities.
matchups and talent as well.
Matchups and opportunity. Well, he was a top back last year. What are you talking about? Once he gets injured, it's a different story. You're right. I don't think he's going to last the whole season. Who's going to take carries from him? Kyrie Robinson is coming back off injury. CJ Spiller's gone. They don't have Pierre Thomas.
I know you're trying
tell
to
me,
justify
who's taking the, no. Answer the question. Who's taking the touches from him?
They're not going to take the touches from him. They're just going to throw. It's Atlanta. They're going to throw.
But they're not going to throw because who do they throw other than Brandon Cooks? Who else is going to throw the ball?
Hey, you got Colston there. You have a tight end there. Come on.
Colston's not that good.
Come on.
Who's the tight end? Can you even say his name?
Josh Hill. Thank you.
Josh was the number 2 tight end. He's the number 2.
He's still
the
there.
number 1 is Watson.
He'll swap
Look,
in and
at
out.
the end of the day, they're going to be playing for the pass. They're gonna get to the 1 a lot. Jimmy Graham's not there anymore to take touchdowns away. I'm telling you right now, Mark Ingram, if you have him, do not trade for the guy because I agree with Steve. And Steve and I, we've both talked about this. He's not going to last the whole season.
No.
But this week, he is going to be a top flight back. Number 2, I'm going to say Eddie Lacy.
Okay.
And if I'm saying number 3 is tough because there's not much there. So I'm going to go with Matt Forte against Green Bay. I think, again, Matt Forte is healthy. It's going to be a shootout that game. So that would be my other one, my number 3.
And you should upgrade Matt Forte if you are in a PPR league as well. So I can say that, and I can justify that for you. And you may even have to consider him number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely consider him only because, like I said, Atlanta, the opportunities. CJ Spiller's out for this week. They already announced it.
Yep.
Kyrie Robinson is still recovering off the injury. Again, I go based off opportunity and matchups. That's my selling point. So that's why I'm going with it. Receivers, what we got?
All right, so receivers. This is really tough, but I really like Cooks. I think Cooks is gonna be insane against Atlanta. I know you're smiling over there, but dude, you saw the preseason games. They're gonna get him involved often and often. He's gonna be in that conversation. Number 2 that I like is I love Antonio Brown. And I'm sorry. I think Antonio Brown is the best receiver in the game. There's a reason why he's the best receiver in the game. I don't care if he's playing the Patriots. Heck, you could put the Patriots and you could put the old school Jets and one other elite top defensive team, and he still get you in a touchdown and 50 yards. So you have to start him. I don't care. And then my number 3 guy that I'd have to say in this one's a couple of different guys that I'm kind of going back and forth on, but because I told you that one of the top quarterbacks is going to have a great game, you have to go with a Cobb. I think Cobb will be in that number 3 just because I'm sorry, I don't believe in Chicago's defense. Any Green Bay starter you have, you basically start against Chicago. That's my top 3 for this week.
All right, I mean, I'm going to go ahead, and I just want to correct myself because I've just been getting buzzed in my ear a lot. I keep saying that New Orleans is going against Atlanta. They're going against Arizona, which, yes, it's a little bit of a tougher matchup, but I stick by it. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run, so I still stick to Mark Ingram being number 1. So I apologize. I was getting corrected. So, yes, before you guys start killing me on Twitter, yes, he's going against Arizona. It's not against Atlanta. Philly's going against Atlanta. My receivers, let's get right to it. Number 1, Antonio Brown. You're going to go with Antonio Brown. The secondary for New England is horrible. That game's going to be a shootout. Give me Antonio Brown. I'll take him all day, every day. And Steve knows I definitely will take him all day, every day. Because I got him on my team. So, exactly. Of course I would.
Exactly.
And then my next
home favorite? No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, my next 2 actually playing against each other.
Okay.
Which is the beauty of it. Give me Odell Beckham 2 and give me Dez Bryant 3. The secondary for Dallas is horrible. And the Giants are a joke right now on defense. So, yeah, that game's going to be a shootout. If you remember, Eli Manning always throws a lot against this team, and he always puts up numbers. Victor Cruz has not practiced all week, not expected to play.
Yeah.
So, Odell Beckham, more targets for you. And Tony Romo always plays well also.
My biggest concern, obviously, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts before, and you should check out sportingdebate.com. We wrote an article about this. The concern with the Giants is that line. And if you can't throw the ball, the chances go down for Odell Beckham Jr. That's my only knock with your top 3.
And I get it. But the way I see it is they're not going to be able to run the ball. So they're going to have to pass. That's the only reason why. So I think that he's going to break about 2 or 3 of them. There's going to be 2 or 3 busted coverages by Dallas because they're going to go on an all-out blitz on the Giants. And that's where the points are going to come. But, yeah, I mean, you could flip-flop Dez or Odell to me. Again, I'm a very big person believing this. I don't think Demaryius Thomas is going to be that great this year. I think he'll still be a top 10, but he's not a top 5. He will not finish top 5. We'll go over that in a little bit later on in the show. We got to get to the tight ends because our break is coming up. So what you got for tight ends?
I mean, tight ends is pretty obvious. So you have to go with Rob Gronkowski. If he's not number 1 on your board, something's wrong with you. Number 2, I mean, I do like Jimmy Graham. I think Jimmy Graham will still perform. So, I mean, by default, I think I have to put him number 2. Well, I can make a case for Greg Olsen, and I think Greg Olsen can be number 2, so I do correct myself. Greg Olsen 2, and I would put Grammy 3.
Good job. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that you would do that. It's going to be Rob 1, Greg 2, Jimmy 3. You're probably going to hear me say this all year. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to be. One guy you guys want to keep a lookout. If he's healthy this year, Vernon Davis could very well be a very, very, very sneaky play. Martellus Bennett will always be considered up there because he somehow gets it done. We got one more position left. We don't talk about kickers here. So kickers, you just can flip-flop them. That's not a big deal. But Steve's specialty, Steve loves this. Steve, defenses, what you got? Who are your 3 to play? This is your specialty.
Hey, number 1, Carolina Panthers against that Jacksonville Jaguar. I'm sorry, that I think is some sweet points. You have to go with number 1 there, just because in the past, if you looked at last year's numbers, Jacksonville gave up a lot of points to people. So I think you can start them at number 1. Number two, I think you could probably go with the Texans D. With J.J. Watt, you're going to get the sack points there. You may get some interceptions. That defense is beefed up, so I think Texans is a really good play. And then the number 3 play that I think you can maybe get away with as far as starting a defense. Number three. I'd have to say, I think I would have to say, man, this is tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna go while you still think about it. This is easy. It's not that tough.
It is that tough.
Number one defensive play this week is going to be the New York Jets defense against Cleveland.
Ah,
Hands down, I
okay.
would take. That's the number one defense I'm playing this week. I don't like the Cleveland's offense. I think it's atrocious. I love the Jets defense. I think the Jets defense, from starting from the secondary to the D line, I really think it's a good defense. So that would be my number one defense. Number two is I'm going to play the Dolphins against Washington. Washington is a mess right now. Kirk Cousins is starting quarterback. Anybody who knows Kirk Cousins, he is a turnover machine, and that Dolphins defense has looked amazing so far. And my number three is going to be Texans against Kansas City because of J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt finds ways to wreak havoc. Clowney's going to play. They have Wolfwork. That defensive line is going to get you sacks a plenty. They're going to get you sacks. Those are my three. And did you finally pick your third team?
I
We got to go
did.
to break, so we need
Yeah,
to pick
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. I picked. It's the team who's playing Oakland. To go with them.
Oh well, there we go. All right, that's our first half. Let's get to the second half. Before we do, we got a break to deal with. Sport and debate. What you got for us? Hopefully that sounded right. Make sure that you.
Sport and Debate is more than just a website or a podcast to me. It's a platform for all fans, from the diehard to the casual, to come together and embrace their love and their passion for sports. And I think that's what separates us from the rest. We love that passion, and we're ready to embrace the debate.
And we're back. Thank you, the Stephen Jesus Show. Those beautiful words were brought to you by sportandDebate.com. Check them out. You can debate. You got articles. You even got me on making special appearances. You
I
got
know.
Steve
On
with the
special shows,
podcast.
man.
I mean, this is what we all about. Check them
Moving
out.
up.
SportandDebate.com. Excellent stuff. Excellent material. Now we're gonna get into the fan session. We can answer you fans. We understand you have fantasy questions. It's that time. So we're gonna get right to it. Steve, we've been getting a lot of hits on Twitter.
All
We've
right.
been responding to some of them, but I want your opinion. I'm also going to give mine as well. We're going to get right to it. We have Jadexis Dus1 on Twitter. They asked, who would you start this week, Giovanni Bernard or Carlos Hyde?
I think I would go with Carlos Hyde simply because you are going to get more attempts out of Carlos Hyde. You know he's basically the main guy there. I mean, Gio Bernard is splitting with Jeremy Hill, in that Cincinnati spot. So, I just don't like situations where you don't know which guy, and I don't like when a coach says, oh, we're going to go with the guy who's the hottest. I hate that. I can't stand it. So, for that reason, I mean, I got to go with, San Fran back.
All right, I agree with you. I think it's Carlos Hyde. You got to play it safe. Go with the guy that's getting the carries. Go with the guy that's going to get the touches. So you have to go with Carlos Hyde. Am I saying that Carlos Hyde is going to be great? I don't know. I don't like what I've seen from San Francisco this entire preseason.
No.
I don't like what I've seen from Hyde. But again, I'm going to go with the person that's going to get the volume. I want volume, and I don't know for sure if Gio is going to get the volume because Jeremy Hill is there. So yes, this week you go with Carlos Hyde.
Yep.
Next one. Who should I start this week? This is from @Adron Tennell. Who should I start this week? Jerick McKinnon or D'Angelo Williams? That's rough.
Oof.
I mean, if that's who, I'm hoping that's more than a 10-team league. I'm hoping that's 12
Oof.
or 14-team league, because if that's a 10-teamer and that's what you're dealing with, who you got?
I think I would have to go with D'Angelo Williams simply because he's going to start this week. He's going to get majority of the carries that now that, Le'Veon Bell is suspended for this game. So I think it's a very simple move for you to do. If you have to start one of those two options, you go with the guy who's starting and who's going to get the majority of those carries.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. D'Angelo Williams this week. Long term, because once Le'Veon Bell comes back, you're not going to see much of D'Angelo Williams. But for this week, absolutely, I'm going to go ahead and say go with D'Angelo Williams. Next one we have from @TheJeremyShow28. Who should I start this week in a PPR, Sammy Watkins or Andre Johnson?
Oh, this is easy. You go with Andre Johnson all day, every day. I mean, you look at the preseason, Andre Johnson was targeted a lot, and especially a lot in the red zone. He's going to be the red zone guy. Now, for you people who have T.Y. Hilton lives on the long ball, so don't fret. But if you're in a PPR league and you're thinking T.Y. Hilton's going to get all those PPR receptions, you're wrong. That's not his game. All the small stuff, all the 5-yard catches, 8-yard catches, red zone targets, that's going to go to Andre Johnson, and that's the guy you want to start with over Sammy. I like Sammy, just not for this game going forward.
I'm tired of agreeing with you. It's really getting annoying. So we need to stop agreeing so much. Yes, you are correct. It's Andre Johnson. It's really not even close. I don't like the quarterback situation out there in Buffalo. So yes, give me Andre all day, every day. Yes, I mean PPR, I get it because you figure Sammy's probably going to get more targets than Andre, but I think Andre's going to do more with his targets. So exactly. Yeah, I'm going to take Andre. This is from @drummer4god11. Who should I start this week? Phillip Rivers or Matt Ryan?
That's a really, really good one. I think, and Philip, San Diego, they are playing, trying to remember.
We're gonna get that. Can you guys get us that, please? Well, are they getting that for us?
Yeah.
I mean, just give us why.
I think honestly, it just purely because we know Atlanta. I think you should still go with Phillip Rivers, and the reasons
Phillip
why
Rivers is going against Detroit.
Detroit? Yeah, I would go with Phillip Rivers. I mean, I'm a big believer that Keenan Allen will turn it around. Yes, Antonio Gates is suspended, but they do have Ladarius Green who can fill into that role. He's done it in the past before. I know many of you guys will say, well, Matt Ryan does have, a lot more targets with Julio Jones and Roddy White, but I still have to go with Phillip Rivers. I think, that team is going in the right direction. He got the contract money. He's going against a pretty good, decent squad. I think I would go Phillip Rivers. I know you're going to go the other way. I know you're going to go the other way.
Of course I know you are. Of course I am. I mean, there's no debate about that. Matt Ryan always starts the season off strong. He's going against Philly Monday night. It's going to be fired up. It's going to be an absolute shootout, that game. You know how the Eagles, how fast-paced they played, which means that they're going to be on the field a lot, Atlanta, just because of how fast-paced Philly plays. The defense is going to be tired. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Give me Matt Ryan all day. As the Southern people say, all day, every day. Just that simple. Let's get to the next one. We're running out of time here. From K, this is @KLeach22. Who should I start this week, Larry Fitzgerald or Mike Wallace?
Ooh, Larry Fitzgerald. The fact that Carson Palmer, even though he didn't look good this preseason, again, I remind people it's preseason. Look at the numbers what Larry did when Carson Palmer was starting and healthy. His numbers were much higher. I would go Larry Fitzgerald.
I'm going Mike Wallace. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater has looked amazing. He's finally taken the next step. I'm buying the Kool-Aid. I'm buying it. Look, I mean, it's not purple, but look, I'm buying it. Look, I mean, I can't show you guys the name for copyright purposes, but I'm buying it. I'm all in on Teddy B. I am all in on him. He's going to get Mike Wallace the ball. He's going to get Charles Johnson the ball. He's going to get everybody the ball. Steve, you go out, try out for the receiver, he'll get you the ball too. That's just how good it's going to be. Give me Mike Wallace all day. And on top of that, I'm sorry, just Larry Fitzgerald is just not as good as he used to be. He's not as good as he once was.
He still can catch the ball. He's like an Andre Johnson. He got to give him the opportunities.
Mike Wallace wasn't too bad last year. He was not. He was actually very, very good last year. And now he's, I think, with a team that he's happy with. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Last one from @MattZastapil. Who should I start this week? Tom Brady or Russell Wilson? I know where you're going, but go ahead, Steve.
No, actually, in this case, I'd probably say Tom Brady. I mean, simply because I would. I'm not a big fan of Russell Wilson. I've stated this before. Until I see indicators that they are going to let Russell Wilson throw the ball, I have to go with past history and what they've done, and that is run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, which is why I had him in my top running backs. So in this case, you have to go with a Tom Brady. You know Tom Brady's still going to throw the ball. You have Gronk there. It just makes sense to go with Tom Brady in this case.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you guys already know how I feel about Tom Brady. I'm with Tom Brady all day. I mean, give me that. I don't like the offensive line of Seattle. I've made that very clear. I think Russell Wilson, I think he's
they don't let him
way
throw.
Overvalued.
Yeah,
way
they don't let him throw. Let's be honest.
You're absolutely right. So those are our answers for this week. We got plenty more. Keep them coming, guys. We will our Twitter feed. We're always answering fantasy questions, so just send them in. We're going all the way up until Sunday. We love you guys. We love the fans. We're all about that. So ask us the questions. We'll make sure we get you your answers. We got about a minute or two left, Steve. So just real quick, I'm hearing a lot of people asking questions about these things. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to address them very quickly.
All right.
Kristen Michael was traded from Seattle to Dallas. Dallas already has Julius Randle, Darren McFadden. I mean, a lot of people are making comments on that. What's your thoughts on it real quick?
My thoughts is stay away. It's just a bad situation. Whenever a guy can't win it out in camp, he can't win it out in preseason, the guy behind him, Darren McFadden, continues to get injured, and you're worried that you can't have him as a feature back. This is why, unfortunately, Dallas should have spent the money, because between all those backs, you could have afforded the guy you had last year. So in this situation, they're going to mix it up between the four to see who's going to win that job. And I would just honestly stay away until you see an indication of one guy winning the job. I like Christine Michaels. I mean, 2 years ago, that was one of the guys we watched for as far as a potential blow up. Turns out that, he couldn't beat out the job, and that's because of the big beast mode out there, and that makes perfect sense. But in this situation, I think Christine Michael has a chance to shine, but I would just proceed with caution. And if you want to take a flyer, go for it, but if you're still drafting, do not overdraft this guy, because that could lead you in a very, very bad situation.
I mean, that's the key here, is not overdrafting, because a person like myself, okay, and I had recently picked up Christine Michael. We had our draft already. Steve can co-sign this, and I had picked up Christine Michael. I had 4 quarterbacks. My worst of the 4 was Eli Manning, so I let go of Eli Manning. I picked up Christine Michael. I had 4 quarterbacks. I could do that. At that point, it doesn't hurt me none. But then I had to I made a trade in which I needed to make a decision. Who was I going to drop on my team to be able to put guys like a LeGarrette Blount and Jarvis Landry, people like that on my team? At that point, he had to get dropped again because, again, it's where he's valued. I truly feel this way. I think Christine Michael by the end of the season will take the job. I think Christine Michael by the end of the season will be, towards the end of the season, a top 20 fantasy back because of the offensive line. Everybody knows I do not like Randall. I do not like Randall. And it's already been announced that McFadden's is going to be the starter for this week. Right. What does that say? Randall was the one given the chance, but now McFadden has been announced as the starter. So what does that say about Randall? So that means Michael's going to get a chance because, and I'm not wishing injury upon McFadden. I respect the guy, but I don't think he's going to be able to stay healthy.
No.
He's not going to stay healthy. It's not going to happen. That's why, I'm sorry, go pick up Michael if you have a roster spot. Only if you have, like Steve said, do not reach for him.
No.
Do not reach for him because he's not going to be good for you for the next couple of weeks.
I want to defend you, my friend, because I know a lot of fans out there are scratching their head. Why does Jesus have 3 quarterbacks on his roster, which is a big no-no in fantasy football?
Yes, it is.
I will allow you to explain why.
That's so messed up. That's so messed up, putting me on the spot. But you know what? I'm a man. I could admit this stuff. Look, the last couple of years, I've had the best roster in our fantasy league. Steve will co-sign this after every single draft. My biggest weakness is I've never had Aaron Rodgers. I've never had Andrew Luck. And those are the teams that I've lost to. I've lost to teams with Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Andrew Luck, and Peyton Manning. So what did I do this year? I said, you know what? I'm tired of this. I drafted a boatload of quarterbacks, and I said, hey, one of them have to make it. One of them are gonna be able to compete for me, and that's what I did. You happy? I said it. I'll man up. But you know what? The fact is I always have the best draft. Now I'm not.
He did have a good draft. I will co-sign on that, but I just wanted him to clarify because I know a lot of fans are going to be like,
fans out there,
what's going on?
That are like, am I going to listen to his advice? Just listen to my fantasy team, all right? Eddie Lacy, Antonio Brown, A.J. Green, Rob Gronkowski, Calvin Johnson. Yeah, I mean, come on, really? Need I say more? Do I need a quarterback with that roster?
We're in a keeper auction league, just to specify, because that would never happen in Snake. Just letting that know.
That's our show. We're overtime, guys. Everybody out there, stay safe, be safe. SportandDebate.com. Go check them out. We will be back next week. We'll answer more fantasy questions. Good luck to all. And, hey, everybody, Roger Goodell, stay out of trouble. Stop suspending people. Be out. Peace.